Dad,
Yes.
how did the passing of Larry Hesed affect you? What kind of reflections do you have on your time of knowing him and getting...
Well, he had an indication that it would be coming, and yet the remarkable way that he chose to deal with cancer, kidney failure, his appendix problem, I don't know, just gave us encouragement to think he would be in that state for quite a while. And I think he was. But in the end, on a good day, he just finally is forced to relinquish his hold on life here, which was sad for us, but still it was encouraging to see his character come through. He's by no means a quitter.
Oh, no. Well, tell me a little bit about how you came to know the Heseds.
Well, I had already established some kind of a relationship with Betty Jean Goebel, Sister Betty Jean, Dominican Sister Betty Jean, and some others of a small group of, say, 3, 4, or 5 of them that had various ideas, and they started out then with that farm. And
how did you first become aware of the farm? Do you recall?
Well, I must have been talking to Betty Jean.
Well, how did you get to talk with Betty Jean?
Well, I wouldn't know exactly how it first happened, but I think it was at meetings like all Christian people together would attend, and the dinners. I guess it would be a prophet there, and that would go to toward a few expenses that people would have in the community that needed rides, or maybe, mostly rides or counseling. And so I was acquainted with Betty Jean and others. I just can't remember the others so much, but Betty Jean stands out because she didn't live too long after my getting to know her, and became apparent that I like to work with my hands and my tools. And I was asked to what contribution I might be able to make to that house they moved in from, that some farmer gave them. And I was able to cut the floor out, make a hole so that it could get into the basement, which they wanted under that house. And that was with Betty Jean, and just as that was being finished, they had found out about Hesed some way, who are back in Denver, or at least in Colorado. And so then I was putting those stairs in when I met Larry and Laurie. And I guess they had their first 2 children. I can't remember if Kezzy was born just after that or just before they got here. She was very little, at the least.
Oh.
And
tell me a little more about your remembrance of getting to know the Heseds.
So they mentioned early on that they they'd been to the Jubilee Partners in Georgia, which was important to me. It was a good organization for me to think about. And that's quite a thing to step out of their defining name, Mennonite. I felt honored about it.
What kind of message do you have for Lori and the children?
Oh, I have a message that they can continue to be confident in the knowledge that God is involved in everything and will lead, direct, strengthen each and every one of them.
Have some memory to Sherry?
Let's see. I think of the time we drove to Colorado Springs, it was, I think, in one day and came back. And it was that little car that I gave to Claudia later. And that's what I bought it for in the first place. And Larry and I went up there. And we're talking about having a memory then. And he was familiar with the organization Compassion. And they had a few things left from my Aunt Greta's decease and her stay there for a while. And so we picked them up and came back. And we had a nice time to talk. There was a deer on the road in front of us when we left early in the morning. A very good one in the headlights. And we talked about things like that. I'm glad we didn't hit it. And then we ate some fresh fruit, I think, on the way. We got along fine. He drove part of the time, I drove part of the time.
Well, I was impressed that many years it seemed like every holiday, especially holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving, you would, and Easter, you would...
Well, they invited us, Claire and me.
Yeah.
So, we enjoyed it. We counted on it. And I don't know if one person was more responsible for that than any other. I don't really think so. But Larry was always a very active participant. We had, what was it, Rubik's Cube? That, I remember when that was it. I never could work that work, but Larry could. Make a difference where it started. He could get it. He knew what was happening.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I just would turn it at random. And I remember when he said he wasn't going to do corporate, that the decision had been made that he wouldn't spend his time doing carpenter work because it were another kind of work of that type around there, but more into the victim offender program. And I did a unit or two of that. We had a little talk about the Baptists and the Mennonites, and I know Larry said, I'm going to ask you this one time, I'm not going to bring it up again. And he asked me about a person becoming a Christian if they would be a Christian and then become a non-Christian later. And if I truly believe that the conversion experience was the beginning of something that would last forever. And I said, yeah, I did believe that. But I said that, remember, we're talking from the standpoint of God, as it were. God alone knows, I think, whom he has claimed. I don't think he'll throw him away, him or her. And Larry never asked me about it again. I don't think we agreed, but we certainly respected each other.
Well, I felt like there was also a bond that, being a pacifist and being, taking not being ashamed or afraid to take a stand against war and violence, and
there is, and I felt so inadequate on that score, but I was proud of Larry, though I don't think he had to face too many direct things, because he was part of a group that was pacifistic. So when he said it, he meant it. He's a conscientious objector to violence as a way, as a solution. He actually was. And it was not just a term. It's the way he was willing to be able to be.
And not just.
Larry's just a great guy, so.
And not just a tradition, but something that he firmly had thought through and believed. Okay. Any other parting words that you'd like to send to Lori?
I'd just like to say that we'll keep up our friendship and develop it. It'll take some new paths now that Larry's gone, but he'll always be an inspiration to us. And I guess we're simple-minded enough to believe that we'll see each other again. I certainly am a firm believer that life and consciousness is not over for Larry. Now, how much we know each other and talk about old times, I don't know. I don't think the Bible tells us much about that.
Yeah. Okay.
So, it's been a pleasure knowing Larry and the rest of the family.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.